What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Getta and Don. I'm your host, John Getta. Before we get to the episode today, make sure you check out Bucked Up. Make sure you get up their shots, energy drinks, protein powders, everything. These guys are legit. If you want to get pumping, if you want to do some crazy things, if you want to go for some crazy runs, if you want to feel energy like you never felt before, check out Bucked Up. It'll be down on a link below, 15% off using code TOPIC. And currently, everything else is 45% off. So, hey, that sounds like a hell of a deal. Go check it out. Anyways, let's get straight into the episode, guys. What is up, guys? Welcome back to a new episode of Getta and Don. I'm your host, like always, John Getta. John Getta. John Getta. Let's get straight into the episode, guys. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Man, we got an intro now. Isn't that wild? That's pretty crazy. 5 years and I finally have an intro. Why am I saying that like someone else is going to make it for me? Like I made the intro myself. It may be okay. Maybe all right. I'll rock it for now. I don't mind it. Like, it's just different. I like having an intro. I think I've been wanting one for a while, but it was like, I feel like you try to make it seem like it's harder than it actually is. Like in your mind, you're like, oh, it's going to take me so long to do this. Like, no, bro, just sit down and do it. Sit down and just start working on it. And it goes about like that. Especially this stuff, like editing and all that. Some of this stuff takes me hours. I think sometimes when I'd mess up on clips and my Wi-Fi wasn't that good, it would mess up on clips so bad and it would distort all the audio. And I would take it apart and put it back in. That would take me like 4 hours of just straight like working on stuff. And it was like, but yeah, lately, you know what I've been thinking about lately? I've been thinking about getting a little part-time job. Right now I'm currently just doing full-time school. I have an internship that I've been working on. I've been doing a lot of the podcasting, stuff like that on the side, marketing. And I'm like, you know what? I have a little bit of openings in the morning. I miss seeing people. Someone like me. I feel like a lot of people would do this too. Is like you need people to talk to, man. Like you need to have that little socialization. I feel like lately I've been just bothering people. Like I've been invited. I've been trying to hang out with the same people over and over, and they have lives. They have stuff they need to do. You can't be bothering them every single day. Let me go do this with you. Let me go do this with you. Let's go do this. And it's just like at some point, like you gotta see that you just gotta do something. You gotta go get something. So that's what I've been thinking about lately. Maybe I have a few trips coming up, so I can't right now. But mid-July, getting out there, getting some morning shifts, maybe a few hours in the morning because you don't want to do nighttime, baby. Let me tell you something. When you do nighttime shifts, you find yourself talking in the drive-thru to someone named Big Red about who knows what. Who knows what you're talking about. But that's a funny story because at the Chick-fil-A I worked at, there was this lesbian girl named Big Red. And I'm telling you lesbian because she's strong, She was bigger than me. She was way bigger than me. And she had a flat top. And for a while, it was like a Disney story between us. That's what it was. It was kind of like a Disney story. Because we liked each other. We were cool. Like we were like bros with each other. Like she would come in. We would like talk about everything. But she never ordered food. Let me tell you this. She ordered 2 big things of waters and 2 big things of ice. That's what she had every single time. And I remember she would come in, get it, go to the drive-thru. It was like easy stuff. Like there was no problems for a while. Out of nowhere, I come in, I'm working window, and the window person is the one that like sees who's at the window, gets their food, puts the receipt in there and gives it to the person gives it to them. Well, she went to the curbside. Y'all know what the curbside is. And the thing about curbside and what we do is that whenever it was something that wasn't paid for, it was like waters or something, we would print it out and just put it on the side. And you would have to remember, because it's not on the board anymore, it's actually just printed out. No one told me it was there. I just clocked in. They sent me over there. The person that was there left. No one told me that was there. I was not aware of this. So someone comes and is like, hey, this girl named Red has been waiting 40 minutes for waters and ice, and she's furious. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I know already. I know Red has a temper. Like she's angry. So I look out, I give a little peek, and I see Red staring right at me like that. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in some trouble now. Like stuff's gonna hit the fan. So then I'm like, okay, I'll get it to her in a second. I start packing some more stuff because we have stuff coming like 24/7. Like your package, you're moving. Assembly line type of thing. I'm moving. 10 minutes pass. And he comes back. He's like, hey, Red still doesn't have her waters. And I'm looking at him like, my goodness, I forgot. I turn, I see the waters and ice right there. And then I turn back. And when I turn back to look at the window, I see Big Red pulling up in her van, her gold van right here right in front of me across the street. So she's not in line. She's across the street staring at me going like that. And I'm looking at her. I was about to, but I didn't do that, because I know it ain't going to be good no more. Like something bad's about to happen. So I'm like, hey, don't worry. I told the guy, don't worry, I got it. He was a little younger, he looked a little scared. And I knew this was my fault. I'm like, I got it, brother. Like, don't worry. Take off, take off. So I grabbed the waters. I'm telling everyone, don't look. Don't look. Stuff's about to get ugly. I walk across. I hand the waters. I'm like, ma'am, I apologize. And she's like, she looks at it. She looks at me. She's like, ain't no damn apology. Starts cussing me out. Starts throwing every word at me. Some of them I don't even know. Like, I don't even remember half of them. She was insulting me and things that I didn't understand. So I was like, oh. She was like, oh, no, 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 no. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She was like, ain't no damn sorry. What is that going to do? 40 minutes for a water? I thought she was about to throw the water at me. I thought she was about to throw it at me and say, there's your water. Man, I got out with a good one there. But then she drove off. We didn't like each other for a while. Like when she would come to the drive-thru, we'd look at each other and we'd be like, she would be like, and I'd be like, hand the water, get out my face kind of thing. Like, don't talk to me now. But when I put in my 2 weeks, it was like the ending of a story. She came to the drive-thru and she ordered a big meal. I gave it to her and she was like, only 3 napkins? And I was like, damn, I'm about to hear it again. She was like, only 3 napkins? And then I was like, hey, can we get some more napkins? And I grab it and I give it to her. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Only 3 is ridiculous. She was like, yeah, I don't know why y'all giving me 3. All love though, like, I love you. And I was like, Big Red loves me. And in a moment, I kind of I was like, Big Red loves me. And I love Big Red. We had a connection right there. And then I never saw her again. Then she went her separate way. I left that Chick-fil-A, and I wonder if she goes to that drive-thru every day, wondering if she'll see me again, wondering if we'll have a conversation again. And it's like, I never said goodbye. And I feel like sometimes you don't need to say goodbye. Sometimes it's not necessary. Like, there's just certain people where you have a connection with them like that. And it's like, it doesn't seem like it has to happen. Like, it's just more of a one day you see them, one day you don't. And then months go by and then you find yourself just like thinking about it, the times y'all had together, and you enjoy those times. And you're like, oh, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed that. I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people understand that. I feel like some people you just don't need to say goodbye to. Like, even when you're really close with them, like, it just like isn't like something that you feel needs to be part of the story between y'all. Maybe that makes no sense at all to some people. I don't know. I feel like some things I think don't make any sense to people. But I remember this. That was really interesting working at Chick-fil-A because compared to my first Chick-fil-A I worked at, my first job, I just turned 18, which I remember when I was 18. That's such a long time ago now. But I turned 18. I just graduated on my birthday. And I remember going forward, fun thing about my birthday is that I graduated the same time that this other girl graduated, but that doesn't make any sense. We all graduated at the same time. I shared a birthday. I've always shared a birthday with like the popular girl in our school. In our grade, she was like the popular girl. Like, everyone liked her, all this, all that. And I remember it's funny because every year of high school, when it was my birthday, it was her birthday, right? So it was always, I would just see posts of everyone wishing her happy birthday. I remember when we graduated, the graduation, it was like, hey, you know that so-and-so is graduating on her birthday. It's her birthday today and all this. And I was staring at her. I was like, yeah, man, that must be so cool. Like, I'm so happy for her. And it was funny because no one knew it was my birthday. And it was like her birthday. I remember she was like talking about it, posting about it, like saying like how crazy that is for her. And she had a big old graduation cap that said birthday girl. And everyone, like, it was a big day for her. And I feel like sometimes it's okay to take the step back. Let other people have their moment. Let them enjoy this thing for them. And I don't know, birthdays have never been like really big for me, especially when I got older. It's like, it's not something I really think about. It's like kind of just like a day. You think about some things, you reflect on some things, but then it just goes. But I got sidetracked there. Started my first job at a Chick-fil-A, and it's funny because this was the worst Chick-fil-A in San Antonio, and I went to working at the best one in San Antonio. So it was like a big gap. This first one, let me tell you something. When at my age, especially when I was going into a first job, I thought everything had to be perfect. Like I thought you had to be perfect at everything. I thought you couldn't mess up or else you were just like fired, cut instantly. And I guess it's fast food, it's kind of an entry level job, something that everyone could kind of like get into. And I remember like doing it. One of the first days, they told me to go like clean something in the back, and I went back there and like, yeah, just clean it real quick. I was scraping that thing, like I was scraping it. It was like mold and all that. I was trying to get all of it off, and I was like scraping it for like 10 minutes, and all of a sudden I just hear people laughing, and it was two managers were laughing at me, and one goes over there and is like, "Hey, you don't need to do that anymore. Like that was just really quick." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then as time goes on, you start realizing that like everyone's just messing around. Like no one really wants to be there. It's just more of we're there to just get some money and then go home. Like it's not that serious. For a lot of people, it's just not that serious. And you kind of you see that after a while. That's an interesting thing to see too, is that things aren't as serious as you may think they are a lot of times, and everyone's just kind of trying to get by. Everyone's trying to get through the day, have fun, do the job that they need to do, and it's never like no one's ever really trying to nag you at something. It's just more of like you're making things for them a little difficult. And I think that's when people get mad. It's like when you're making their stuff harder. But that's outside of being the owner. I feel like when you're the owner of a business, it's way different because it's like your baby. This is your baby, and it feels like someone else is trying to ruin it for you, and that you need perfect people in there. But when you're actually working in it, it's just a whole different story. And I feel like the owner will never understand that part either if it's not theirs or if they don't share the same passion. But yeah, that was crazy. Remember, there was like so many. That was a I think that first job impacted my life more than like so many things because I built so many relationships with people, and I met so many people, and I grew with so many people because some of us were all the same age, and we witnessed each other kind of like growing up. Like we went through all these things, we talked to different people. Some of them were dating different people, and I was like, dang, like I met you when I was 18 years old, and you were like, because when you go to a job, you see different people. You work with different ages. So some people were 15, some people were 22, some people were 28, and we were friends with each other, and we just like grow up. And sometimes you drift apart, sometimes you stay together, and that's life. But that was really interesting, that time frame of me working there. I only worked there for a year, but it's a year that really impacted your life. And sometimes those do a lot for you. A lot of people are like, oh, I did this and this for like 10 years. And then you go and you do something for like a year or 2 years, and you feel that leaving that impacted you more than leaving this. And it's because it's about the moments. It's not about the time. Like, it's not about how much time you spend with someone. It's about the moments you have with them. You know, it's about being able to enjoy those moments. And sometimes some moments are just so much better than the time overall with some other people. This could go with people. This could go with things. And it could go with anything. Sometimes moments are just so big with some people to where it just like overshadows so much. But yeah, I found myself looking back on it. Would I ever go back to that job? No, I wouldn't. And I feel like when I leave something, I'm leaving it. Like I don't. I try to really make sure this is what I want to do. Like I don't like going back on things because I feel like it's me going back in time. Like it's me trying to relive moments that is the past now. I don't like going back on old things that I feel like I left for a reason. And I remember when I left that job, it was really interesting because I was really satisfied there. I loved working, but it was with the things I was doing at that time in my life, I was just struggling in school. I wasn't focused in school, and I'll be honest with y'all. I'll open up with y'all real, like totally. I don't mind opening up here. Uh, I was not doing good in school at all. Like I was failing classes. I wasn't making deadlines. It was not a good period of time for me mentally. I was working a lot. Like when you first get that paycheck, especially at a young age, when you're not used, like it's first job, you've never been paid before. It kind of like consumes your mind. It's like, look at this money I've never had before. Because in high school, if I had $100, that was like a lot of money for me to have. Like I was set. I could take these people on dates. I would pay for this. For the baseball team, if we went somewhere to the corner store or something, I'd pay for it on me, baby. If I had $100, I was able to do anything. And it's like, sorry, it's just crazy. When you get that paycheck and you start getting this other paycheck and then you start working more hours, and I feel like that's when it consumes you. You want to work all day after a while. And especially like at that job, it was like everyone was just laughing the whole time. We were making jokes. Yeah, when it was a rush, it sucked because we weren't prepared. We weren't really trained. We learned as we went along. So it was like a lot of arguments. And you get a lot of arguments. We argue with each other a lot. Sometimes it did suck, but a lot of times I was like, there's so many stories of people's lives being told there. There's so many different storylines, and I feel like everything is a big story. You know, everything is like it's being told as we go along, and that's what makes it so nice. And I feel like some people don't. I don't understand how some people like just don't want to live the story. Some people just want to see the ending. You know, they want to see how it plans out for them in the end. And it's like that's not how it should be played out. You know, you should enjoy the journey of everything, because it's like you go to the movie theaters, but you don't want anyone to spoil it for you. Why? You don't want your movie to be spoiled, or sometimes we know the ending of a movie yet we want to watch it again just for the story. So when it comes to life, how come you never want to just live the story? Why do you always want to know the ending, if it's good or bad? Why do you want to know if it worked out for you or not, when you could live the whole thing and see the ups and downs, see the journey that you went through, see the journey that everyone else who was with you went through? I feel like that's the exciting part of it, and that was what made the job so like interesting and so enjoyable, because there was a lot of bad moments. I had a lot of bad moments when I was working there. I had a lot of times where I was like mentally I was like crumbling, and it was like a big just like turning point for my life. You know, and some of y'all may be like, yeah, you're 18 years old. What do you know about turning points? And I don't think age is what depicts knowledge. I think knowledge is based off of events that you're put into. Like I said, moments, and moments beats time. You know, moments beats time. And I had so many moments where it was like I had to witness and I had to go through a lot of things. And I was put in a lot of situations with a lot of people that I was never put in before. You know, and some of them I didn't do good. Like I'll be honest about that. There's been times where I didn't do the right thing, but in my mind at the time I didn't know. You know, I didn't know any better. I was 18. I was a child, and even right now I'm still a child. But I feel like every year you learn more and more, and I was able to learn more and more as I went on. And I made bad decisions. You know, I made bad decisions, and I feel like we all have to make some bad decisions to learn what good ones are. And that's just how it is. You know, you can't be afraid to make a mistake. You can't be afraid to fail. Even when you fail and it feels so bad and it feels so crumbling, you could always build back up. Especially at a younger age, you know, we're supposed to fail. We're supposed to make mistakes. And sometimes you make a mistake or you make a bad choice in the moment that has some effects, and has big effects that affect your life completely. And I had some moments where it was like changed a lot of the course of my life. It changed a lot of things. You know, the I'm trying to like process it, because I think about it in my mind, but like saying it out like this is like different, especially when I'm just talking to a camera. It's like it's really eye opening for a lot of people to see that. For me, it was too. Like I would sit down at the end of my days, and I would just like think, and I'd be like, dang, like you got to witness this, you got to go through this. Like I should have done this. Like you think later on, you're like, dang, if I would have done this, like I would have probably still had that right now. I would have had that person in my life right now. And it's like you can't be just you can look back on it, you can reflect on it, but you can't regret it. You know, you can't hold yourself back because of those moments. You can't make yourself feel like a bad person because of those moments. You got to realize that it was everyone's first time living in that moment. You know, it was my first time being 18. It was that person's first time being 18. It was everyone's first time being that age. No matter how old you are, if you're even 30, that's your first time being 30, man. That's your first time being 29. That's your first time being 50. That's your first time being 18. It's our first time doing that. You know, everyone's like, "Oh, you should have known better. You shouldn't be doing this at this age." You got to go through it. You got to be able to, yeah, you got to suck it up at some point, and you got to like understand, like, dang, I made the mistake. I got to move forward. You can't hold yourself back the whole time. You can't make yourself feel bad for yourself. I feel like that's the worst thing to ever do, is just feel bad for yourself. You know, I feel like everyone else can feel bad. Everyone else gets to tell you things, but it's about how you feel about yourself. You got to keep pushing yourself mentally. You got to stay with yourself, and you got to like get through situations. And I feel like that year, my freshman year of college, was like it was like everything was thrown at me at once. Everything that I've ever had to experience was like thrown at me. And it was like a lot of it really crumbled. You know, a lot of it crashed and burned. A lot of it really, as some say, it hits the fan. Shit hits the fan. I'll let it drop on that one. Shit hits the fan. And it's like, what are you gonna do? I feel like life will look at you and be like, what are you gonna do? And I decided that the best thing for me to do at the time was kind of just like step away, build something else, move forward. I feel like I was walking away from a lot of things. I wasn't doing the podcast. I wasn't doing these things that I used to love because I was distracted. I made myself focus so much on things that I shouldn't have been focusing on. I shouldn't have been prioritizing so much in my early life. And it was like it threw me away. It threw me off guard. And I lost time because of that. I lost moments because of that because I was so dedicated to things. And then when that thing that I was dedicated to hit the fan, it left me alone for a while. It left me in a space where I was I was kind of lost. I was kind of sitting and I found myself just like thinking like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm about to get kicked out of college. I got fired from this new job I started. This situation with this person really didn't work out. So what am I going to do now? I just like would find myself very sad. And I think it's important to understand that, it's important to know when you're sad. It's important to know like how you feel, but it's important to know that you got to keep pushing. And I think that's where I went. So I just kept pushing. I kept looking for something else. I kept, I started doing these videos again. I started just working on ideas. I constantly try to come up with ideas. And that's when I started telling myself, if you get an idea, pursue it. If you get an idea, work at it. Give it a chance. Give everything a chance. Work. Push yourself beyond something. Push yourself to do something greater than you've ever done before, because why not? And it's crazy that one year of my life was able to show me so much and put my perspective in a whole different category. But yeah, sorry, I really ramble off after a while. I really start yapping, but I guess that's the whole point of the podcast and the show, is to really just like let things go. So I'm gonna start posting more of these. I'm gonna do at least like two a week. One episode a week will have a guest, and the rest will just kind of be me, just kind of like telling you about my life. And for those that listen, I really do appreciate it. I love you all. I love every single one of y'all that care to even hear a second of me, because I know it's a lot. I know I'm a lot. Anyways, thank you guys. Like always, it's been good and Don. And I hope y'all have a good one. I love y'all. I'll talk to y'all next time.